Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. I am Kevin Bapty, and I'm joined, as always, by my brothers Craig.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
And Adam.
What's going on, guys? Aloha.
So, guys, we just finished watching the Sony Open from Hawaii. Adam, why don't you give us a little tourney recap?
Yeah, so we had a shootout in Waialae. It was Kevin Na who prevailed down the stretch with 4 birdies in his last 6 holes, winning by 1 with a score of minus 21. The only person to get to minus 21. So Kevin Na, the last few seasons, he's quietly had a 3-season win streak, guys. I have a little quick trivia question off the hop for you. There's actually 2 other players that have wins in each of the past 3 seasons. Can you guys name them? Craig, do you have an idea?
Of course I have an idea.
Okay, well let's go to Kevin then.
Let's go to Kevin first.
I know one for sure is DJ.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then I'm gonna, it's gotta be JT, no?
Ooh.
No.
Or is it wrong?
No.
Ooh.
No.
Craig,
It's one of your favorite
bring it
players,
home.
Kevin.
Bring it
One
home.
of your favorite players. Good old Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh yeah, of course.
I thought it was 4 in a row though, Adam. I thought this was
Yeah, so this trivia doesn't even mean anything.
but
I don't
it
know,
is
it might be 4.
it is
Yeah,
4 in a
I'm
row.
back about it.
He had a couple in 2019, but it was spread out over the 2 seasons. So
I think I'm a fan of the European tour schedule from January to December.
I'm
This
such a
wraparound
fan of the
season
European. Yeah,
is
I totally
confusing.
agree.
It's confusing.
It makes no sense the way they do it. But regardless, Kevin Na, I was very impressed with the win.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch when he's hot on any day, but particularly Sunday when he's walking in putts. It's just there's something pretty cool about watching that guy on the greens.
Yeah, the
It's
quick
fun,
walk
but
is
it's also
iconic.
he's a close. Like, there's a lot of people that in the moment they're not going to go out there and win it. And I was talking about it a little bit when we were texting last week because it felt like Harris English was kind of like ho hum, not really going out to go win it. He did end up winning it, but Kevin Na just seems like he is intent on winning this, and he's going to go down swinging.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed on 18 today, Kevin Na, he had that chip at the back of the green. He needed to get it tight to make the birdie on the par 5. And I feel like he started the chip like almost as soon as I forget who is, I guess it was Steele just rolled his eagle putt. And within a matter of seconds, Na was hitting his chip. Like, he wasn't going to think about it. He was just hitting it.
Well, I think that the kind of chip it was a very straightforward chip. I think it was
Good lie,
good
straightforward,
lie,
yeah.
with kind of uphill lie, and then you just need to get it on the green. And it was going to funnel down to the hole because I think it was downhill to the hole. So just it's a simple chip. Like, I think even one of us could have got that pretty close. So don't overthink it.
I
Just
could go
step
up and down from there. Give me 10
I could go up and
chances.
down from there at least 1 in 3 times. So I think I think he just didn't want to overthink it. He just wanted to get up, knock it close, and regardless, he was going to hit it close enough that he was going to give himself a chance to make birdie. So just hit a good chip. Don't overthink it.
Although, was this not the one where he was like, "Oh, there's like a blade of grass right there"? Like, he called his caddy over to point to a blade of grass.
I think
And then he was like, "Oh, there's a blade of grass right there. I'm probably gonna hit it." And then he just goes and hits. I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess there's a blade of grass there."
How much resistance is that going to give the one blade?
Yeah. No, to me, 13, 14, 15, 3 birdies in a row. Steele had the bogey on 14. That was just, to me, that was the total momentum shift. And then, at the same time, we had Kirk it was around the same time linearly, but Kirk was obviously on later hole or it was around the same
Further
time,
along.
but later
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah.
But Kirk had pushed it to 20. And Brendan Steele just faded, and Kevin Na looked like he wanted to win it.
I think we have to say that Steele was 3 up after 9, the par 5 9th, where he jammed in that eagle putt. So he was 3 up with 9 to go.
That I mean, at that point, it was totally Steele's tournament to win, and unfortunately, he followed the eagle at 9 up with a good drive on 10 where he got a bad break. I don't know
if that's that bad of a break.
No,
I mean, it could have stayed plugged in that face of that bunker.
That's true.
Too.
That's true. But he was a yard off having just a fantastic drive, and he ended up. I don't even think it was that hard of a pitch, although it was a little awkward.
No, I think he's got some demons.
Yeah,
on this
I think
course,
so,
especially on this back nine. Yeah, well, 10 was where it all went down last year, and he made a bit of a mess. But it just seemed like the back nine, like he didn't really seem comfortable. I mean, he didn't seem comfortable all day. He made a couple putts at some points, but yeah, I would agree. He didn't. I don't think he's one of these people that does a great job sleeping on the lead.
I mean, unfortunately, I think his track record shows that, but a tough final nine for Steele. There's no doubt about it. I think he was 2 bogeys, no birdies, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And he actually, a few of his pars were actually like he did work to make pars.
And that was the same on the front nine. So he didn't look comfortable all day. It looked like he might have kind of got away with it after making a birdie on the par 3 7th and then the eagle on the 9th. Because nobody else in that final group was doing anything. Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, he started sliding the other way, and Na finally got his feet under him. And then Niemann, who I was really pulling for reasons we'll talk about later, he made it exciting there with that chip in on 17. That got me up off the couch.
For a while, I was gonna be complaining because it felt like Niemann could not get a putt to drop, and like nothing seemed to be kind of breaking his way. And then he made that chip, and I'm like, okay, well that makes up for a couple of those putts that wouldn't fall.
Yeah, well I think for Niemann he had. I mean, he was just. I think Justin Leonard on the telecast was talking about it, but it's kind of a testament to how good he is that. It seemed like he was not doing anything. Like he made a bogey there on the front nine where he bladed that chip across the green into a bunker and then got that up and down for bogey. And then
one that he had one he drove in the water and made a par. Took the penalty drop and
yeah. So I mean he was kind of all over the map today. And then on I believe it was 15, he ended up finding himself right in it. On 15, he left one just a revolution or two short for birdie. 16, he was the tightest one in there, and he missed his birdie putt. And then, it looked like that was it for him. And then on 17, he chipped in for birdie there when he thought he was kind of out of it. And the way he had played 18 all week, he had made 2 eagles and a birdie there already. You kind of thought anything was possible at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, talk about strong finishes and back-to-back starts for Niemann.
And did they say that was a 7 wood in the fairway bunker on 18?
That's what they said.
Well, they said he had gone 7 wood, I think, earlier in the week for sure.
I love that so much.
He ripped that. I couldn't believe the contact he made on his second shot out of the bunker there. That sounded
I don't know the last
sweet.
time I've seen a 7 wood that wasn't from the 80s. Like that.
I think, doesn't Dad carry a 7 wood?
Yeah, I think it's from the 80s.
From the 80s, yeah.
I'm gonna start carrying a 7 wood if I could hit it like that.
So let's talk about some of these other guys. I kind of just jumped in there with Niemann, but Chris Kirk. So Chris Kirk, he just seemed to kind of plod along today. I think he dropped a few on the front nine.
He did drop a few because I was following him quite closely.
Yeah, and then he just started making birdie after birdie. I think he made 3 in a row at one point. I don't even know, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I don't even know if the telecast showed him get to 19 under, which I thought was shocking.
They were showing him on 14. The back nine before. So because of, the story of him having to get a top 3 to keep his card, they were starting to show him. I don't know how early they first did. But oftentimes they'll just do it in a quick little 10-second clip of, here he makes a birdie putt.
Right.
So when I know you have 2 young children at home, you might miss those sometimes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Small.
I'm in and out. Yeah. I'm in and out. And let's face it, with the way golf coverage works, it's the only way you can be because you get, I'd say you get equal parts commercial to golf viewing. It feels like a lot of the time. So, you kind of have to have something else going on to stomach it.
No, but gutsy finish for him. On I think it was 17 when he left that putt hanging. And I think everyone knew how close it was going to end up being for him. And so he left that putt hanging, and everyone wanted that thing to fall.
But we didn't get a reverse angle of that, so we only got the angle from like it like right across the hole, right? I feel like we didn't get an appreciation how close it was.
Well, I also don't think you have a good appreciation that was probably downhill, kind of with the break, and it just
Against the
wouldn't
wind,
fall
they
in.
did say though. So
Against the wind. And
You guys might not have a good I had appreciation for all of those things. But then he came down, and then his second shot on 18, he put out to the right, which was sort of
it was
the
jail.
place you don't want to miss, because you're short-sided with a lot of, you're in that nasty Bermuda rough, and you have to. Fortunately, I think he drew a decent lie, and could get a decent contact on it, but just made a beautiful chip.
Yeah. Regardless of the lie, that was a phenomenal shot that he hit.
Beautiful pitch, I guess I should say. Yeah.
I feel like I've said this on the podcast before, but I feel like when I watch him, it feels like he has a resting heart rate of 45. Like his irons are so smooth and relaxed. His putting stroke is like, it relaxes me watching him putt. It doesn't seem to have a care in the world.
Yeah. It was fun to watch, and I think we've mentioned on the podcast before his backstory. So he's a guy you just feel. I feel myself pulling for him when I see him up there. So it was nice to see him have a good, strong finish, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about why that was such an important finish in a little bit here. Anything else you guys want to mention about Steele before we start talking about some other guys?
I mean, I think we've touched on it. Tough back nine, tough.
Yeah.
Really tough day for him.
Really tough day. It's a course that he's one of these guys that he can't go out there and compete on every course. So it's a course that he kind of needs to get it done on. And it's 2 years in a row now that he's let it get away from him. It's just going to be one that's going to be a little bit hard to get over. And I don't know if there's a whole lot more needed than that.
Yeah. So how about Webb? For a while there, I couldn't believe they're still showing Webb. And then all of a sudden, he reminded us why they're still showing him, I guess. Started dropping some bombs and kind of creeping back into contention there.
But so if you went back further in the tournament too, that seemed to be the story. Like he made a few long putts throughout the week, and then he was missing, those say 8 to 12 footers or 6 to 15 footers, but then making the 15 to 25 footers, it seemed like. And had a couple, there's twice on my sheet here that I have marked down big putt with exclamation mark next to Webb, because he just dropped bombs to make birdies and give himself a chance. Little bit flat on 18. He could have gone out there and at least posted a bit better of a number, but
push the clubhouse lead to 20, which would have put a little bit more pressure on those guys, I think.
Yeah, at the start of the day, I didn't think he'd get to where he ended up.
I agree.
Getting.
That's true. Me too. Interesting too with Webb. I don't remember seeing him as frustrated as I saw him today at a few points. I know I can't remember which one it was. It was par 3, maybe 11. Not sure. He ended up hitting it into a hazard, and
right.
He was pretty pissed off, and you don't usually see that kind of animation from him. Which is kind of interesting because he was he seemed like he was so close, kind of all week. He was so close to really just grabbing this tournament by the collar and running with it. And he couldn't quite do it. And I think it kind of started to get to him a little bit towards the end there.
Yeah, but he seems to be getting the reputation of like the backdoor top 5, top 10 king. Like he always finishes. Like he brings it on Sunday somehow, some way, and sneaks into
I
like
think
that
that's
money
just
position.
a characteristic across the top golfers. I
think so
it's
too.
Just these other guys, you'll see them. They'll be in the top 5 on Saturday at the end of the day, but they've already shot what they can, and maybe Webb.
Maybe I'm
missed
saying
opportunities.
He doesn't get the appreciation as a top 10 golfer in the world, or like maybe he doesn't get that recognition. I don't know, but
I think I really think he is more and more. I know I have certainly viewed him not necessarily as that in years past, and at this point you really can't deny it. He's as clutch as it gets usually.
I think in part it's because we think of the top guys as, for the most part, they have pretty complete games, including the distance. And Webb is much more, he's almost like one of these elite journeyman, like more of an accuracy and precision guy at a very, very elite level.
Yeah.
So it's almost like maybe we keep him a tier below the guys who we know have the distance and can go out there on any course and really compete and overpower it. Whereas Webb, yeah, it's shocking that he doesn't have I don't think he has a win here, does he?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I love the fact that we heard from multiple players this week that say like they pick and choose their tournaments on the courses they know they can win. We heard that from Kevin Kisner before the tournament. I think Kevin Na said it in his.
I was going to say, I think we got a winner who,
did.
Yeah.
I think Brendan Steele said it after Saturday, or at least this is one of the courses that he really enjoys, or times in the schedule he really enjoys. It's interesting that I don't think the PGA likes to hear that or likes to have that get out, but clearly that's the mindset of these guys that are shorter and accuracy type players, that it's getting away from them, so they have to pick their courses.
Yeah.
Well, and of course it is, right? Like that's just the reality of their games and the guys they're competing against and the courses they play. I mean, when you have a chance to win, and when you kind of are just trying to hang on.
Yeah. One of the best ones I've heard talking about that is Jim Furyk, where he says, 15, 20 years ago, I felt like I could compete anywhere, but now I still feel like there's courses I could go out and compete on, but I know that I can't compete on every course on the PGA Tour.
Interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who could compete at every course, Paul Morikawa kind of snuck up there this week. He was always sort of just off the top of the leaderboard. Adam, I know you were watching him closely as your one and done this week.
I was watching very close, but I was watching agonizing on Shot Tracker, whatever it's called, on the app or the website, the leaderboard website, because it would be Morikawa from 185, sticks it to 9 feet 7 inches, like, oh yeah, then par. Like he's so good with his irons. I also saw another tweet, I forget from who, but he picked like his best golfer of all time, like best driver was Rory, best around the green was Patrick Reed, best putter was Tiger, and he picked himself for best approach, best approach.
Yeah.
Nice.
I respect that self-confidence, but like going into 18 again, I was counting the one and done dollars, and Berger was creeping up there as well. Kevin, your pick, and I was like, okay, just get in there with a birdie, like post that 19, and he parred it. Like,
come on. Berger was in front of him all week. Morikawa kind of almost clipped him at the end, but
Morikawa was always in that like 5 to 12 range, it felt like, and he just couldn't get into that top to make that real move.
It felt to me like he was never maybe I'd have to think back a little bit closer on Thursday and Friday, but he was never really in contention. He was always just sort of outside of it, and just because of how good he is, he stayed there throughout the tournament.
And that's kind of like Webb as well.
Yeah.
Webb
just got a little bit more of a hotter putter and sunk a couple
Just different
putts.
styles, but pretty much the exact same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the one and done sure does make watching tournaments on Sunday pretty fun. Regardless.
Or Friday afternoon.
Or on Friday afternoon when Kisner sinks maybe a 15-footer for Eagle to make the cut.
That was awesome. So I was watching that, and I was thinking about you, Craig, and I was like, all he's got left is number 9. He's at -2. Let's see if he can do it. Hits a good drive, hits his second shot to about 17 feet, I think, and then boom, he made it.
Yeah.
I was pumped for you, man.
He was pretty confident in his putting stroke there too, which I like it.
So I know we're a few months into our one and done season, and this is maybe not legit to start wagering now, but I feel like there has to be a little bit something on the line. I don't know what yet, but there has to be something.
Yeah, well, we can figure that out.
Like a Baptiste Cup, they have to play with a certain ball or something we choose, like something like that. I don't know. The loser has to play with.
We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah. Adam, why don't you get into your 3 stars for this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So my 3rd star is Marc Leishman, a guy we didn't bring up on our recap, but guys, I think I want to stamp it down. I think Leishman is back.
So I had Leish as a sleeper last week, and I think I was just a week too early on him there.
A week too early. He had a great start to 2020. Pandemic hit, very, very shaky after the COVID restart. I think Now I'm missing his stats, but he went on a long stretch of not playing well at all. He had a T13 at the Masters, which kind of came out of nowhere. It was a jolt in the right direction, but this is his first top 10 in almost a year.
What did he finish this week?
He was 4th.
T4.
Yeah. He had a few no-cut tournaments in a row where he was pretty reliably in the bottom.
That's
5.
right. I think the Zozo and the CJ Cup, right?
Well, the Zozo, I don't know how many were in it, but he was tied for 70th there. Tour Championship, he was T28. BMW, he was 69. I think there was 70 there. So like he had quite a few where he was pretty close to the last.
And I don't think it was just like one thing, like he was really cold putter or like he was spraying drives. Like it was just kind of a mess of everything, like not clicking.
Yeah.
But I think so
got it together. So yes, he was playing poorly, but
so 3rd star, he's only Chris Kirk and Billy Horschel broke 66 each day. So he's consistent, which I feel like has been a problem over the past 10 months, let's call it. And the other thing, he won in Torrey Pines last year. So if any of you guys are interested, he is still 80-1 at the US Open.
Ooh. Isn't the Farmers at Torrey Pines too?
That's the Farmers he won last year.
Yeah. So he'll get 2 shots there. Is that so? Is
that not the South course that they do?
I think at Farmers they play both.
Okay, but the U.S. Opens is the North course, I believe.
I don't know.
Or we better look into
whatever
this.
The hard one is.
I'll look it up. I think the North course is the big boy course.
I believe you.
North course is Tiger's course there. All right, who's your second star?
Moving on.
Second star, Chris Kirk. Already mentioned him on the podcast, but his back was completely against the wall. He needed to get it done. I think he had 11 starts to his major medical extension that he needed to get the 280 points. Rob Bolton, who's a great follow on Twitter, he works for PGA. He does the major medical extension and the rookie watch each week, kind of gives those updates, who's getting their card and who's kind of still in the hunt. Tweeted out this morning that I think, he needed that T3rd or better, like 2 people at T3rd. So super clutch performance from Chris Kirk. He's got his card, second star. Love to see it.
Yeah, love to see it. Just update. I had it backwards. South course is the big boy course.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone was keeping score at home.
So where do they play the Farmers? We'll figure it out. We'll get our ducks in a row here.
We got a couple of weeks. I think that's in 2 weeks.
Everybody's getting nervous about the one and done. What am I supposed to play leash? All right, just tell me what I'm supposed to play leash.
So farmers, they do the first 2 rounds. They play both, and then the weekend they play the South.
Okay.
I got some information on the Farmers later in the pod. It's going to be in the stock up, stock down section. So just you wait.
All right.
That's
sitting on pins and needles.
First star, Kevin Na. Like I said, 3 wins in 3 seasons.
4 wins,
which
in
might
4
be
seasons.
4 and 4.
Step boy.
I've had a daughter that's been getting me up at like 5:30 every morning. Guys, it's late at night. I'm trying to get through this the best I can. 4 wins in 4 seasons.
He's even higher as a first star now.
As a first star. I think the interesting thing for Kevin Na, especially with his putting powers, Ryder Cup this year. I think he's an interesting kind of possible addition to the American Ryder Cup team this year. So,
well, they were mentioning that on the telecast quite a bit there.
Yeah,
so maybe that's where I got the idea.
I don't know. I feel like I need to hear. It's sort of like an all-pro team in whatever sport, or I need to know who you're knocking off if you're going to put Kevin Na on there, because there's a lot of good names there on the U.S. side.
Maybe that's a separate
but you know what? That being said, there's also, we've all seen these teams that are just absolutely stacked all-star teams on paper that don't have the team chemistry, and I feel like Kevin Na would be a good team guy.
He'd be a good glue guy, yeah.
Yeah, and like the way he walks in those putts, it's just a little bit of swagger that I think a teammate would really feed off of, and I think he'd be a great addition. Was it Bones that kept bringing it up?
So would you say Kevin Na over Matthew Wolff?
Yes.
What about
Yes.
Scotty Scheffler?
Yes.
What about Daniel Berger?
No.
Ooh. I don't know.
Patrick
Stop.
Reed?
Yes.
I don't think you can take.
I think Patrick Reed's going to qualify on his own, though, probably.
Well, all I'm saying is that, I mean, you got DJ, JT, Morikawa, Schauffele, DeChambeau, Webb, Cantley, Reed, Koepka, Berger. Like, you've got
Tony
a lot
Finau?
of... So I haven't even got to Finau yet, you know? So, like,
What
you've
about
got
Tiger?
a lot of... All I'm saying is the U.S. side, you're going to have to take off a pretty good name. I do appreciate the Kevin Na on the Ryder Cup team argument, but I also think that, like, you can't just say, like, oh, yeah, this guy should be on the Ryder Cup without saying, like, okay, then who are you taking off? Because with the U.S. side, you're leaving off a pretty strong name if you're going to put someone on there.
So I think with the captain's picks, though, if he were to fall into that category and not just qualify, like, let's face it, getting a win early in the season, he might just string a few of these together and get himself on there. So it's no questions asked. But if I like with the captain's picks going after some kind of gritty guys, you know, like not just the superstar that didn't quite qualify that year. Like, qualify next year. I'm gonna go for this little pit bull over here.
You need the guy that's gonna stand in there, take the charge, pass the rock.
Exactly.
You can't
The
have all kind of,
JYD of the team.
You can't have 5 Vince Carters on your.
Well, I was going to say, it's sort of like when they went from
JYD, I love that.
the U.S.
Dog.
The U.S. basketball team being just all of the biggest name superstars to hey, actually, we need some guys who are going to rebound and play defense, and we only have one ball. And
Shane Battier, come on in here, man.
Yeah.